Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The Honorable Vice
La
Prime
discussion est
Minister,
finie. On revient au programme.
the
Back to
Honorable,
the normal program.
the Honorable Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology of the Republic of Mauritius, Honorable Mrs. Leela Devi Dukan Lachuman, Honorable Dr. Monica Musenero, Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Uganda, as well as the Chairperson of the AUSTC ESTI, respected Honorable Ministers of all other friendly countries present today, the Executive Secretary of ADEA, Mr. Albert Sengiyuma, distinguished country representatives, partners and well-wishers of the education sector, colleagues of the Ministry of Education and of ADEA, ladies and gentlemen in your respective grades, all protocols observed. Good afternoon to you all. I'm saying these words with mixed feelings in my heart. I am sad as the 2022 ADEA Triennial is ending and all of you, friends, will soon be on your way home. And I am also elated by the level of discussions, collaboration initiatives, and cooperation promises which the past 2 days have generated. We have had profound discussion sessions in all the 4 subsectors of the triennial, with some, like the one on higher education and scientific research, being particularly animated and fruitful. We are confident that the 2022 ADEA Triennial will not end only with a declaration, but also with an action plan to translate our common intentions into implementation. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to the mic the Executive Secretary of ADEA, Mr. Albert Sengiyuma, for his remarks, please.
Thank you. Maybe, can we be seated, I guess, rather than, I don't want to be impolite and move. Oh. So mine is simple. I know time is not really on our side. So some of you may be leaving shortly. I say it's simple but very important. It's really to thank you, starting from the Vice Prime Minister here, Minister of Education, who hosts this event. Please clap him. Thank you for your time. I think it was really a great commitment that you have made to have all of us here. We met in March. She agreed to host it. We started the whole work, and the team that she put up in place was under Mikon. Can you stand up? Let people to know you. Thank you so much. He was the leader of the team. Thank you so much for the wonderful work, for putting up really a wonderful team, and it was really a pleasure to work with you. Let me also thank our partners, all kinds of partners that are here. I'm not going to take time to name. I don't want to make the mistake I made yesterday in following. So let me say partners, thank you. Thank you all for the wonderful work you did to contribute. Since July, we engage in what we call stakeholders consultation meetings. A number of you were part of that. That helped we were able to design the different priorities, key areas of focus, and you have very much been engaged in that. And that, to me, was so important. We can succeed together or we fail together. So we have chosen to succeed. This is all the Katulengi from this. Last but not least, my chair, Minister Monica, we hear you. We like your language. you know. So thank you for saying what you said. Ministers here, honorable ministers, I know you have so much to do. Thank you. Thank you so much for making your time. You are dealing with so many things, but having you with us over the last few days is a testimony that you believe in partnership. You believe in working together as Africans, together with our partners. So thank you so much for being here. I would like to inform you, we were supposed to have a declaration that we call ministerial declaration, but some of the ministers not here, they have not seen it. So we wanted to share the declaration first with you. You confirm if you're okay. We can publish it, and we will announce it during the General Assembly, because she knows what I'm talking about. We want to bring something that we can implement. The translation of that declaration is the most important thing that we need to make. So, in brief, thank you again. Mine was really simple, but more important. It was just to thank everyone who made these things happen. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. We had this immense honor and pleasure of hosting Dr. Monica Munesero in Mauritius. I'd be happy, ma'am, if you have a few comments on the event.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Education, Science, Technology, Mauritius, colleague ministers from the various African nations, all of you partners, it has been a pleasure to interact through this session. I'm usually wary of conferences when I watch people skim over things which are obviously wrong. They don't believe in them, but they stand and start to talk politically correct. One of the things I've loved about this conference, and in all the fora we interact, I don't know how to be politically correct. I only know how to be correct. So through the time since I've been here and the sessions I've been able to attend and the interactions on the side with so many people, I really want to appreciate, and I would like to summarize a few things. I think we have agreed that no more business as usual. If you agree with me on that one, you clap. So we have agreed that no more declarations that we don't intend to implement. I think the declarations are abundant, and the papers are getting tired of declarations that we don't intend to implement. So before the papers go into rebellion, this time every single line we put on that declaration must be something that we are committed to implementing. And I want to appeal specifically. This morning we had a meeting. I saw the majority of the ministers are women. Women, we don't promise what we don't intend to do. So whatever we put on that paper should be something that we are committed to doing. In the past, most of the declarations are worked on with our technical people or different partners who negotiate the statements to be there, and we sign declarations we really have no intention of implementing. We actually have no ownership of them. Let us own every single line on these declarations. The second thing we have agreed is no more delegation of thinking. Africans must think. No more delegation of thinking. And for the discussions that have gone on, we have agreed that we are going to put thinking platforms in place, both at the continental level, ADEA, AU, at national level, at ministry level, so that we have platforms that allow input of thought. Ministers of education, if you go back and the think tank consists of your commissioners, you are simply inbreeding. There is nothing going to come out of it. Everybody will be protecting their small territory. Think tanks are for enabling the inflow of ideas from the best brains in the country. We have agreed that we are going to have courage. The definition of courage is the ability to do something that frightens one. You do something that frightens you. So we needed to question everything about our education system. We need to question whether it is fit for purpose. We need to question the processes. We need to question the methods. Let's make sure that we have courage. In my ministry in Uganda, we have a concept we call positive rebellion. Positive rebellion. You will pay me to elaborate that in the next session. So we need to make sure that we question, why are we doing this? Does it serve? And small changes can begin from there. Why am I doing this? And have the courage to change. The first thing is we need to take a systems approach. I had a small side discussion this morning, and we're saying education is a system. Now, being medical, I will illustrate using the digestive system. When you put something in your mouth to eat, it must have a viable exit. Now, no matter how good the food you keep eating, if the exit is damaged, soon you'll not be able to eat. Education is not complete until there is a buyer for the product, until there is someone willing to pay for the output which has come out of education. It's a business. If you produce something which nobody buys, eventually the whole system will clog up. I think since all of us eat, you'll not be able to forget that illustration. So education is not complete until there is a viable livelihood for the people that are going through our system. So let's have a systems approach to education, and let's align all the innovations and all the interventions that we have had here that are going to come up through partnerships to the purpose of education and to their systems. I want to thank the Executive Secretary for everything that you've done. Isn't he marvelous? Isn't he marvelous? I think literally he knows everybody by name. He knows all of us by name and knows a bit of history about so and so. Albert, we appreciate you. Thank you for the wonderful work, and thank you for the wonderful team that you have. I want to thank all the partners for all the contributions, for all the support, for all that you have done. I think I have never enjoyed being chair to the AU committee than today, because I think we are finally having a coalition of thought. And where we still have differences, we will gently align. Lastly, I want to thank the government of Mauritius. Honorable Prime Minister, thank you so much for the very, very nice environment. I've learned so much being in Mauritius. I've made a lot of friends. And thank you for my focal person. She's been there, she's worked extra time. Nila, where are you? Yes, we have become best friends. But thank you for the people of Mauritius for being so hospitable. And thank you for providing points of learning within and outside this building. I've had opportunity to visit some installations outside the meeting taking place. And I think we all believe there was no more fitting place for us to hold this ADEA trainer. So we thank you, and thank you for the excellent organization. Don't we really feel that, everything, your transport is there, the services, they're very good, and we really appreciate it. And we'll take the messages back home. And since Uganda is hosting the next, we will come and consult on how to make a better one. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. I wish you action. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Monica. It has been an honor having you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology of Mauritius, under the leadership of the Honorable Vice Prime Minister, Honorable Mrs. Leela Devi Dukan Lachman, and the guidance of our Senior Chief Executive, Mr. Mituk, took pleasure and pride in hosting the 2022 ADEA Triennial. We have put in our best effort to ensure your fruitful participation to the event. We, however, wish to tender our deepest and humble apologies in case our hospitality has ever fallen short of your expectations. On behalf of the Honorable Vice Prime Minister and the Senior Chief Executive, I would like to also thank all the officers from both ADEA and Mauritius who worked relentlessly for the success of the 2022 triennial. Some of these officers, ladies and gentlemen, were in the forefront. Some were frontliners. Many worked in the background. But all of us made one chain of harmony, united by the desire to make this event a success. I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to invite you once again for a big, big round of applause for all these officers. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, the passion to work hard was instilled in us by the exceptional leadership, combining vision, direction, support, dialogue, and communication of the Honorable Vice Prime Minister, Honorable Mrs. Leela Devi Dukan Lachman. This was an essential element boosting our effort. I would like, under your applause, to welcome to the lectern Mrs. Leela Devi Dukan Lachman for the closing address. Please welcome.
Excellencies, colleague ministers, Dr. Monica, Executive Secretary of the ADA, Mr. Albert, distinguished delegates, representatives of development agencies and organizations, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Fascinating how these 3 days of the trial went by so fast, and we are now at its closing stages. Allow me at the very outset to state that it has been a privilege for Mauritius to have hosted the ADEA triennial, and thank you all, honourable ministers and honoured participants, for having taken time to be with us in Mauritius, both in person and virtually. I also need to recognise the contributions of the speakers, the chairs and panellists for the probing and fine quality of our debates and discussions. We will all agree that our triennial has been a timely event for African education systems. It has taken place at a critical time in the transition period as our countries progressively move out of the doldrums caused by the pandemic, and as ministers engage in the rethinking, the repurposing of our respective educational agendas and trajectories. Indeed, it has been deeply satisfying to have seen so many education leaders, delegates and stakeholders committed to building resilience to sustain the development of our continent. The 2022 triennial focused on 4 highly pertinent thematic areas: the impact of COVID-19 on our educational systems, the importance of foundational learning, the promotion of technical and vocational skills development, and reimagining Africa's higher education and scientific research. These sub-themes had been enriched by the interventions of many ministers as well as other delegates who attended the conference virtually. It was also good to see that the triennial served as a platform for the launch of a major report and a peer learning network. Ladies and gentlemen, our report will be in the form of the actions that we need to take, as beautifully presented by Dr. Monica. No declarations as such right now, but a plan of action that will have to come up from the thinking that we've done during these past 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not substitute myself for the rapporteur's team, nor will I present a recap of the several issues that have been discussed and the ideas that have mushroomed. Suffice it for me to highlight just a few points that have forced themselves to the forefront. 1, COVID may well have caused a blacksiding in whatever gains had been noted prior to its manifestation, but it has also presented opportunities for us all to work towards repurposing our education systems through facilitating school and re-entry programs, for instance, and work towards improved learning outcomes. We're all taking this opportunity now to make sure that learning outcomes do get improved. Whatever feeling we had that things were not working, now we have a platform and we can, from now, start working towards improving the state of affairs. 2, it doesn't suffice to verbalize commitment and intents. Actioning them is a much greater imperative. From policy to action, thus demands university-driven, research-based evidence and accurate data to address issues and inform other policies. This also implies a rethink of the TVSD, a rethink of the TVSD sector in building the workforce of tomorrow. This 2022 triennial has also voiced out the need to put up think tanks to elaborate our strategy for TVSD on the continent. And I think this is what we have all been talking about. All key actors of the sector should start talking to one another. And why not start the first think tank for TVSD in Mauritius after this triennial, and then move on to have the same system, the same mechanism set up for the various other sectors of education. 3, it behooves us all to work in close cooperation and collaboration with partners and stakeholders. If we expect to find solutions to many of our common problems and challenges, we need to work together. The problems and challenges that confront our systems and societies need to be tackled collectively. And this is what Africa should do now. In my welcoming address, I referred to the ability to go further when we walk together. But it's also important for those walking together to talk to one another. And this is why the think tanks become important. Higher education institutions have a major role to play here as well, since they are required to work out a strong nexus with industry. Overall, this collaboration should be regional, continental, and with strong South-South bias. 4, there was unanimity about the leading role played by teachers in building systemic resilience. Quality teachers make for quality schools and quality learning outcomes. This is where we need to focus. Proper capacity building of our human capital can only rest on proper capacity building of our teachers and educators. Distinguished participants, the issue of foundational learning received intense attention, especially in the wake of the learning crisis that negatively impacts our education system. We all recognize the cardinal importance of the basis on which lifelong learning and future livelihood depend. To make that happen, one strong leverage has to be the strengthening of the pedagogical hands of the regular teacher, but also, and certainly, that of the rural teacher. It is recognized that there is a vital necessity for our systems to guarantee foundational learning. Decision makers and universities, amongst others, should bring back the higher education for basic education narrative. We have to ensure that this is so. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, the way forward is ours to take. For the last 2 years, a modern buzzword in the wake of the pandemic have been building back better. But reflect on this. When a house is struck down in a cyclone or any other natural calamity, we start building it back. And obviously, we can only build it back stronger and better. Let us then think of making our education systems more resilient by building forward better. I will end on this note. Thank you, Mr. Executive Secretary, for having, through this triennial, given us the opportunity for a convergence of ideas. I would also like to stress that the convergence of ideas can only come when we all look in one direction. And I think something that came out very strongly is that Africa should look in the same direction as a continent. We may be different. We may have a variety of challenges. We may have diverse problems. But we all have the same aim. We want to build back stronger. We want the renaissance of Africa, and we want our children to come out as productive young citizens, responsible young Africans. So this should be what we are looking for. I would also like to thank the development partners who unhesitatingly contributed to ADEA's mission towards enacting the transformation of our education systems. My thanks also go to the interpreters and the ADEA Secretariat for the synergy created with the energetic, go-getting team of my ministry in making this 2022 triennial a success. Thank you, ADEA officers and troops. Excellencies and dear participants, I hope that you will take the key recommendations and commitments as strong takeaways to your respective countries and also work on implementing them. Obviously, do find some time in the near future to visit Mauritius again and enjoy our hospitality that I hope you will have all appreciated. And do come back with your families. I wish you all Godspeed and safe return back home. And with a pinch in the heart, I now declare the 2022 ADEA Triennial closed. Thank you very much.
Sous vos applaudissements, mesdames et messieurs. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having graced 2022 ADEA Triennial with your presence, your intellectual presence. Registration has confirmed that we had 884 participants. Congratulations to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wish you all a safe trip back home, and thank you once again and wish to see you soon. Thank you so much. Short housekeeping note, please. A kind reminder